Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Ooh, raw.
What is this raw thing? Is this like something new the kids are saying these days?
Have you heard somebody else say that recently?
No, just you.
Oh shit!
Is it something that you're trying to do?
No, it's raw. Just means like I'm sure that's not like a new thing. People, I've been saying that since I was probably like in middle school. Raw just means like that's cool. It's untouched.
No, I like it.
It's
I'm
untouched.
into it.
Yeah.
Raw, baby.
Yeah. Dude, you'd be a great voice actor. You ever consider doing that?
Yeah.
Do you do it now?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah!
I mean, it's all the same thing in my opinion. Like acting, voice acting, all of it.
Yeah.
I've done. I have commercial spots on the radio right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You probably heard them sometime. You probably just didn't. Do you even listen to the radio anymore?
Not at all.
I don't either. Yeah, but when people hear them, they're like, oh, that's that motherfucker right there.
That's Kyle.
Yeah.
That's always a fun thing whenever you can hop, like whenever I'm on TV or I'm out at a party. It's a cool flex. I hate that I could, flex it like this, but I'm proud of like friends and shit, doing, can I say shit?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want to.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I normally start by saying your name. So Darrius.
Oh, my name is Darrius.
Darrius
Thomas, by the way. Yeah. And thanks for having me again, Kyle. I appreciate it, man. But no, it's always a cool flex whenever you're out at parties or bars, something like that, and a commercial comes on. I know a good buddy of ours, Adam, he had a bourbon commercial, I think, like last year. And it's cool to just say like, yeah, I know this guy. But I bet it's even cooler to say this sound. I know this guy's voice. This is my boy Kyle.
It's just fun. To me, it's fun to do. I never even see some of the commercials that I do.
Sure.
There's people that come to the bar and they're like, hey, I saw you in that air conditioning commercial. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like being on set doing it.
Sure. So what made you start this whole journey? There used to be this old podcast that Glorioso used to do. And he said at the end, he would ask the actors, did acting choose you or did you choose acting? If I could steal that.
Interesting. That's an interesting phrase.
Yeah.
I don't really know if acting chose me or if I chose acting. Like, what would that be if I went to school for acting, if I pursued it that way? Would that be me choosing acting?
I suppose you making the conscious effort to say, I want to be a part of this rather. I mean, I think that's found in everybody, but rather than you always feeling this pull in your chest to not necessarily entertain, but to be a part of that world.
I think it's just me.
Yeah.
Like this like personality just needed to it needed a way to get out. And a good way to get out was acting.
Sure.
I think you and I have talked to this before. Like whenever I first started like all this, like the entertainment stuff, it was through modeling.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and that was fun. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if this is awesome, then I can only do this for so many years because I'm going to start losing my looks and stuff.
Sure.
But I was like, there's one way that I can do this for a long time, acting.
Okay.
So I was like, if I can translate this modeling, because a lot of models have a tough time breaking into acting because modeling is so stationary. It's about looking good always. Acting is more about expressing emotion. And a lot of models aren't very good at expressing emotion.
Sure.
Because they're like, you're supposed to keep it like, still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I started going at it through that way because I was like, I want to keep doing this longer. I want to keep in the entertainment industry longer.
That's so interesting that you say that because you asked me to consider some things before I came on. And one of the things I considered was there's this podcast I wouldn't say a podcast, but a sit down with Drake with Radar. And they talk about, because Drake comes from acting. He came from Degrassi. And one of the things he talks about that's so interesting, acting is one of the only forms of artistry where, and this is changing today too, we have cameras and phones now, we can make our own stuff, but acting is the only artistry where you're kind of you're always on hold and you're not at the helm of you are and you aren't. If you're a rapper at any time, anywhere, you can produce beats, make music, and then push it out. You're all of the above. That goes for all musicians, sculptors, painters, dancers. But for actors, it's kind of like you're waiting for somebody to give you the go ahead to be an artist. And it's interesting that you said what you said about modeling to acting now. I never considered it like that, eventually there would be of course, everybody gets older, but that there would be this time where you're being told again, like, no, you can't do your art now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If any of that made any sense.
I did. I mean, I hear what you're saying with the like acting part of it. That's why a lot of with the acting, like always waiting for a job. Mm-hmm. And I hated that like that way to look at it. Cause I actually looked at it that way too when I very first started. And then when we finally started making our own content, that's when I was like, okay, well, this is actually doable. Cause I mean, if you are sitting there waiting for a job always, most of the time nepotism is going to get in the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, people, and for those who don't know what nepotism is, it's people in the industry already bringing their family, bringing their kinfolk in. So they're kind of getting in the way of casting. But at the same time, if you're making your own content, then you're basically creating your own work, and you're creating work for other people too.
Sure.
Whenever I heard It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, those guys, you know that show?
Yeah.
Fucking love that show. But they basically started that show in their own apartment. It was the three main characters, and they had this like old camera they were using. And that's how that show was born. So, I mean, I think that's the kind of the journey, the place I'm at right now is like, I know a lot of people in the city, so I still get cast for things. I don't audition as much as I used to because we're working on our own stuff constantly. Yeah. So we're constantly creating jobs for other people, and we're kind of like pushing our own work, which is, I think, the outlet that most actors should be going these days. Yeah. They should learn how to operate a camera, learn the basics of how to make a film, how to edit. And then you can pretty much do your own thing. You can go your own path.
Well, then I also think with that too, aside from the fact that it helps you get into the industry a little bit more, so if you don't have any credits or things to your reel that can help advertise you to maybe bigger agencies or management, aside from that, I think it just makes you being a multifaceted person, I think helps, not guarantee, but it helps promote longevity in the industry. A lot of actors and actresses after, and this is different for some people. Leo's been doing this since he was a kid, and has no problems getting casted, of course, because he's great. But for some people, regardless of talent, there's almost like a lifespan as an actor. But it's so cool, guys like Quentin Tarantino, not just any guy, but one of the best like directors and writers ever. He can just make his own stuff. He doesn't have to sit around and wait for somebody to tell him. But if you don't have maybe the skill set or the toolbox to do that, and you can have all this talent as an actor, doesn't matter. Your lifespan can dry up, and and your talents have nowhere to go. So I think that's really a cool thing to see. And I think a lot of actors are doing that a lot more these days. A lot of people, young guys breaking into the industry, and I think that's such a great way to go. Just because, yeah, dude, this is a rough field to work in. Yeah, and it's tough to quote unquote be told when you can do the thing that you love, but to build skills like this to help promote your own longevity, I don't see why not.
Well, I'll tell you another thing it did for me was, and I was telling Jared this, I had one of my director friends on last week, and we were talking about, because he was there when I very first started acting. Okay. And he saw me from day one. And he said he's watched me improve over the years. And he said one of the biggest improvements that he noticed in me was whenever I started getting behind the camera, because I actually understood the dance then. Okay. Because there's a dance between the director, the camera guy, and the actors on set. So and if you're just an actor saying your lines, you don't understand the dance, so to say. Sure. Because you have to know where the camera is, you have to know where the camera's moving, and you're acting with the camera and with the other actors in the scene.
Yeah. I never thought of it like that, but yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting coming from did you do a lot of theater in high school?
No, I didn't do any acting in high school. Oh, okay. Yeah, this all came when I was in my mid-20s. I was like, this is fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, then actually I'll go somewhere else then. What were you considering doing before this?
Oh, well, I used to do IT.
Oh, really? IT guy?
Yeah, I was an IT guy.
It's always IT guys that are like buff. They're like jacked for no reason.
No, that's what my degree's in. So I did that for a few years, and I was like, this fucking sucks.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like I had a cush job, dude. The people that I know that were doing that job are still there working it right now.
And back home in
Arkansas, yeah. And I only made it 3 years, and I was like, dude, I got to go. Like, there's more out there. I need to go see it. I can't just sit in this office for the rest of my life. Wow. And just left and went and fell into the modeling field. Okay. And you said it was a great job, it sounded like. So have you ever considered while pursuing this, do you think it gave you the room and flexibility to pursue artistry like you're doing right now? Which you do a lot of things. So that's a lot of time going in a lot of directions. Do you think having a job like that still would have been comfortable for you? Or is this is the way? Yeah, no, it wouldn't be feasible to do these things. It's hard to. And this is something that most people don't realize about actors. Acting is typically a part-time job for most actors. Yeah. So you have to have another job, and you have to be flexible in that job. I know several friends that have had full-time jobs, and they've had to quit their full-time jobs because they get a role on something. Right. And then the role's over in, 6 weeks, and they got to go find another job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the flexibility you need to actually pursue a career in the arts, in my opinion. So if I was still doing IT, I would have to focus on that 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you need something flexible. That's why this job right here is perfect for me.
Yeah.
So as long as I can hang on to this place right here, I'm going to, and still pursue my craft.
Yeah.
But what about you? Like, have you found it hard to work and pursue acting as well?
So I've always, besides my very first job, when I was 16, I got my very first job at like a mom and pop grocery store. And aside from, hey, Bus, he gets it. He did the same thing. But aside from that, I've only ever worked in restaurants, which is like the cliche spot for specifically even actors to be at. And you know, I was really cool with the guys who ran the last restaurant I was at. I was there like on and off like 5 years from high school out. So it was never hard for me if I ever needed time off to do anything. Because I went to classes, that's where I met like Johnny or friends of ours, Johnny and Adam. It wasn't a hassle. It wasn't a problem. I didn't have to deal with, and then I didn't have bills either. So there wasn't stress looming, creeping over my shoulder about me paying bills or paying, you know, having kids. I didn't have the weight of real life really sitting on me just yet. And even so, for the most part, now it's not so much a hassle. I'm a server in New Orleans, and there's plenty of artists in New Orleans. So this isn't an unfamiliar thing. It's not like being back home in Arkansas, perhaps. But I will say, though, it's, you know, it's interesting. There's a little bit of, and I asked you about this IT thing because there's always this little bit of FOMO sitting on me in terms of, because I didn't go to college or anything like that. And it was weird graduating high school and like seeing all my friends go to college and start pursuing, you know, degrees in IT and getting these great jobs, these like sustainable jobs. My job's great. It pays bills perfectly fine. But there's always something sitting on me that feels like I'm not adulting as hard as they are. And so it's always a weird, I don't want to say a struggle. I pay my bills fine, but I always consider a lot of times, like, if I could find like a real job or adult job, these are real adult jobs, but you following me? I
feel what you're saying. And I think that, and this is my opinion on this. I think that you're living better than they are.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I say this, I say that there's a cliche lifestyle. You know, you go to school, get a degree, get out, get a job, have some kids, buy a house, get in the debt trap and stay in there until you die. Yeah. Or there's actually going out and pursuing life and learning from life and failing and trying again and failing and trying again. Yeah. And that's what art is. And what you're going to keep doing is you're still young. The fact that you're doing this at such a young age, you're going to grow like exponentially, man. If you stay in this field and you keep grinding and keep hustling, like there's no telling where you'll land. Sure. Like, you know where those people are going to land. And that's like, in my opinion, that's not fun. That's not living. You get one time on this ride. Yeah. Fucking live.
Yeah. Yeah. And that stuff like that helps. That's motivation. That's fuel for sure. And I'm grateful for all the experience and things that I've had, you know, coming out of high school. And it's I think any artist, and I'm sure at times in your life, security is like our biggest, like, if you don't have that, maybe confidence, perhaps that's strong. And a lot of artists don't. We're pretty fragile, sensitive people, man. Security, whether it be financial or job security, that's like the constant threat and the constant enemy. How do you deal with fighting that off every single day? Because again, you're an artist. I know there has to be something creeping on you like that.
Yeah, there was a very unique story. And I've told it on the podcast before, but I'll tell it again because, you know, why not? There was a guy in my hometown who dropped this knowledge bomb on me one day, and I didn't even know the guy at all. He knew me because I come from a very small town, but I didn't have a clue who this guy was. He's an older guy. Yeah. And he basically said, never live above your means. Yeah, it's a very cliche thing for someone to say. Sure. But I was like, okay, whatever. Got in my truck and drove off. Okay. Okay. So like 3 years goes by, and one day I get a phone call. I'm at college. Someone's like, hey, did you know this guy? And I was like, I didn't know that guy. And then I put two and two together. I was like, oh, it's the guy that ran the glass shop. Same guy. They're like, oh yeah, his wife snapped and then went and got a gun and shot the son in the chest, and then went home and shot the husband in the head, and then lit the house on fire and shot herself. What? And I was like, that's fucking wild, especially coming from a small town. That's insane. Yeah. And And I was like, hang on a second. Boom. It clicked in my head. I was like, that guy said never live above your means. And for some reason, like that's stuck in my head ever since then. Like I hate that 3 people had to die for me to click that in my brain. But that's how I lived my life ever since. I've lived my life in a very frugal way because I knew that there are going to be times when money might be tough if I'm pursuing something that's outlandish and crazy like the arts.
Sure.
So I've stuck by that motto, that credo.
Yeah.
And that's got me through life. There were times when money was rough, but I got through them easy.
Yeah.
Like they would have been a really hard time, but then a really stressful time, but they weren't stressful because like there are people that are older than you that will drop nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah.
And they may not stick with you then, but if you like just pay attention to those through life, then you're going to be okay.
It always has a funny way of coming. Like certain things in class I learned when I first started training as an actor is like I'll be washing dishes and then it clicks and it makes sense in the moment. So that's such an interesting way of looking at that. That's a different way. That's a different death of a salesman, but I get the correlation. That's so interesting.
Well, dude, I even think that like you serving and stuff, like that's an acting exercise in itself.
Yeah.
Each table you walk up to, you got to be a different guy.
Yeah. Different people from all over the world. I was just talking with somebody about that, especially working here in the French Quarter. You know, you're meeting not only people from Australia or China or England, but you're meeting them drunk. You're meeting a lot of persons. So you're definitely right about this. And that's the cool thing about working in this field. That's the cool thing about being an artist is that everything around you is like training and it is wisdom and it is applicable to any field that you're in as an artist. And I think it's easy sometimes to lose sight of that, especially when you're constantly wanting to achieve, perhaps, you know, as an actor, everybody wants to have their own show or be a lead or anything like that, but forget that maybe the growing pains that you're feeling to get to that are like exactly what you need to be that lead. That's you serious to be a well-rounded person is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that's one of the issues that a lot of young actors have is they don't have time to develop into humans.
Yeah.
So they get these roles early in life and they become monsters.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare to find someone who's had success early in life and they're actually down to earth.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, the struggles make us who we are, man.
Yeah. So tell me, where do you see yourself? I don't even want to say 5 years from now. I'm trying to be more of a long-term person. I'm so instant gratification. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I don't even do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have that? Do you see yourself somewhere in 10 years?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Where is it?
I would like to see myself full time. I keep hitting your mic. I hope it's not destroying your audio.
You can't. I mean, this right here will destroy it.
Okay,
everything else is fine. I touch it all the time.
I think I two-pieced that part. You told me not to touch a couple times. Anyway, I would like to see myself full time as an actor. Maybe like leading a show, series regularing a show, or leading projects. I
mean, that's the way to do it. The way to do it is to visualize it and then figure out a way to go do it.
Right.
So, like, how are you going to do it? You're just going to keep auditioning and trying?
Yeah, keep my head down. Keep my head down and keep, you think
that's the way to do it though?
I think not doing it decreases my chances of getting, of accomplishing that. But I don't think that's the sole end all be all way either.
I think that if you really want that, what you should start doing is sending out emails every day to actors that have already done that and ask them how they did it.
You think it'll land on somebody?
Yeah, because you're talking to people that I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all the other actors that probably haven't done that yet either.
Yeah.
So you might as well reach out to people who have done it and just see what they say.
Yeah.
Like you never know. Like Brad Pitt may get that email one day and be like, I'm going to respond back to this
Feel
kid.
generous that night.
Yeah.
Okay. I never thought of it like that. Yeah. That's the kind of boots to the ground work though too that I guess a lot of people forget.
When it's easy, it's emails. You send them out. And I mean, do you have IMDb Pro?
Yeah.
The IMDb Pro. So yeah, you can send it to their agents, whatever.
Yeah. And or get stiff armed in the chest. But I guess what's the loss in that?
Yeah. What is the loss of that? Yeah. I mean, I think through like what all the crap that I do, one of the biggest things that I've done that's beneficial is just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you want, like I'm working on a new project right now and it's kind of a science experiment that I'm doing. I don't want to say too much on the podcast yet, but there was a substance that I needed and for this science experiment.
We'll just call it kryptonite.
Yeah, we'll call it kryptonite.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like hesitant about, where I was going to get this substance. And finally I just reached out to a research facility and I was like, hey, I need some of this. Will you guys send it to me? And like, sure, for this much money. And I was like, done, sold.
What?
It was that easy. Like, it was that easy. I was stressing out about it, but it was just that easy. If I just asked a long time ago, I wouldn't have had to stress out about it.
Yeah. What? Oh.
We can talk about it off camera.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If you're curious, it's really freaky.
I'm very curious.
Really
dude.
freaky.
If it give me superpowers, would it make me a Brad Pitt tomorrow?
It may cure cancer, dude.
Oh, what the?
I'm not 100% sure yet. It may cure cancer though.
Yeah, these are the kind of conversations I expect to have with you right now. I can't wait to tell somebody later this guy's curing cancer. Anyway, so if you weren't here in New Orleans, I know before we started this podcast, you said that we were talking a lot about, I was expressing that interest in moving to another place, another market. I tried New York before and I loved the place, but it wasn't a place that I was really sustainable for me, maybe my personality, my characteristics. I know you tried LA once before. What was your experiences like being in LA for the time that you were there? How long were you there?
Oh, I was only there for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, this isn't going to work. Like,
Okay.
I knew immediately. I was like, it's not going to work. But yeah, I went to LA before I ever got like a modeling deal or anything.
Okay.
Like I knew that I was just like, I want to pursue this. I'm going to go to the place where it's going on.
So you went there because of modeling. You weren't just.
Yeah, it was just modeling is what I went there for.
Yeah, okay.
And all I had was like a little portfolio that I built up while I was in Arkansas with some of the local photographers. Went out there just on a whim.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whoa, this is huge. Like there's no way I'm going to actually meet people and network the way I want to.
Do you mean actually in geographical scale it's huge, or do you just mean the idea of Hollywood and everything is just so
all
giant?
of it, all the above. Yeah. I mean, the scale of LA is insane.
Yeah.
Like, so when you go to LA, you think, I'm going to this place. It's like, no, you're going to an entire part of a state. Like LA is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just way in over my head then. So I chalked it up to a loss and went back to Arkansas. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try on a smaller scale. And luckily, that's where I bumped into my first agent, Yancey Prosser. Shouts out Yancey.
You still with Yancey?
I'm still with him. Yeah, we don't really do much anymore because he's in Arkansas still.
Okay.
Yeah, he got me an audition like last year once, but we're still tight.
Okay.
But yeah, he got me this gig with Dillard's Clothing Company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the corporate headquarter is in Arkansas, which I didn't have a clue.
No way. What city?
Yeah, it's in Maumelle, Arkansas. So Little Rock, Arkansas, Central Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, so I moved there and just started working for them a few days a week.
What?
Yeah.
So wait, well, real quick, I don't want to blow past that, but going back to LA, what was it when you got there, aside from you said the size of it all, what were the feelings in your chest when you got there? When I went to New York, I was so inspired and like lit up. It felt like a fire. It's an inspiring city. Did LA give you that at all? Or did you not feel like you could be at home there?
Well, I was going from small town Arkansas to LA. So for me, it was anxiety and overwhelming, like
Southern
fear.
boy in the big city.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, it was more of a fear-based thing. So there was no inspiration at all because I'd never even been in front of a camera. Really.
Oh, okay.
The only camera I'd been in front of was like 2 people that I knew from Arkansas that was like, you look good. You should do some pictures.
Sure. So do you think I'm not saying you weren't developed before, but if you found yourself to be more developed and camera ready or comfortable with the camera, do you think that LA would have been sustainable for you at that time of your life? Or do you think, man, destiny just was not bringing you there?
I think that had I been more developed in front of the camera like I am now, like when I get in front of the camera now, it's like it's not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was me right now, moving to LA, it still wouldn't be sustainable. And I don't think that an actor should move to LA. Yeah. I think that the way the industry is structured right now, the best plan of action is to start making your own shit.
Yeah.
And there may be people out there that would disagree with me. But this is how I feel wholeheartedly with being in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can't make it in New Orleans, then you're not going to make it in other places either.
Right.
Because once again, the way the industry's structured and the way the work is everywhere now.
Yeah.
And you
self-tape.
Yeah, self-tape everywhere. I mean, I think that I think that the cost of living in this city is so much lower than other cities that it's only smart to stay here.
Right. And I know I mentioned something to you before. I said about, training in all these different markets and how it's available there. And whereas it lacks a lot in New Orleans, what's your opinion on, you told me earlier, you gave me a little rough snippet of it earlier, but what's your thorough opinion on somebody going to pursue training in arts versus just winging it out here in the world?
I've never taken an acting class in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's comfortable. That sits well.
Yeah, dude. Okay. I know that that a lot of agents want you to continue taking classes and all this shit. No, just get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like get in front of the camera, get behind the camera, get involved with the process. When you get involved with the process, you're going to become more comfortable. I think that's what training does. Training gets you comfortable with the process. But if you're constantly involving yourself with the process, then you don't have to.
So you're saying there's more than one ways to get comfortable with the process.
Absolutely, yeah. And for me, it was just getting on set, like getting my hands on stuff, like getting playing different characters. Like that was one of my goals too when I was doing student films. And I still do student films too. I love doing student films. It's just a way to explore new characters.
Right.
But my main goal with doing student films was to play one of each genre because I wanted to see if I could stretch myself.
Sure.
And this was like in the early days. So, I mean, that's where Adam and I met. Adam and I met on a film where I was playing an evil king. So I got to like dress in full makeup and like wear this like headgear made of bones.
Okay.
And get to throw him around all day.
Yeah.
Like it was a good day, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's the way you stretch yourself.
Sure. Would you think though that you could be better prepared to stretch yourself and use your instrument with certain guidance from certain teachers that are well equipped to instruct it? Or do you think it's just not really necessary at all? I
don't understand the teachers of acting. Like I did take one beginner acting class in college just because I had a free credit. Yeah. And that was it was really fun. And that woman was freaking amazing. Yeah. Molly Sims. Oh my God. Like,
fuck yeah, Molly.
Incredible. But my whole thought with that is like this woman is probably one of the most amazing actors I've ever been in a room with.
Really?
Like when she one day she just like went off. She was trying to like make a point to us. And she got super angry at us. And we were all just like fucking terrified. Yeah. And she's like, that's acting. And we were like, what the fuck just happened to us? You know? Yeah. So when someone can do that and they're still just like an educator. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. That's in my opinion, like that's great acting, but why didn't you make it? So the training that I want is the training of how to get into the business. Because acting, everyone acts all the time. Sure. It's just about getting comfortable with being in front of a camera. Sure. And you seem to have that right now because there's a camera pointed at you right now.
Oh, well, sure. I've done it a time or two.
But I'm saying, like, I think that's your training. Your training is complete. Now you figure out how to get into the industry.
Right. And that's the cool thing about, and that is a cool thing about being from, a place like Louisiana. You talk about New Orleans. New Orleans has been crushing in the industry, obviously the past few years. And it's such a blessing to be from, Louisiana. I started off with a small, like Southeast, like almost a boutique agency, a great boutique agency. Angie Moncrief, I can never say her last name right, with action. She was the greatest. She was my second one. The first one, I didn't really work out too well with.
Yeah, Angie's great.
But Angie, you're with Angie, aren't you?
I'm not with Angie. No, Angie and I never actually signed with her. Okay. Yeah, we talked about it a few times, but she wants you to do a lot of work, and I get that.
She's a beast.
That's why I love that she does that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I was like, I can't commit this much time to this because I'm also doing other things. Right. But so I understand what she wanted, but I just couldn't give that commitment to her.
Well, and that's the thing. Like a lady like Angie, these are the kind of people that you could only be like, for whatever. Yeah, but whatever reasons, if you could have a lady like Angie in your corner, man. Without her, there's no way. I'm not with her anymore. I'm with like CESD and I'm Bicoastal now in New York and LA. And there's no shot that I would have been able to even. They would have passed clean over me if it wasn't for a woman like Angie setting me up to be to give. I can't get on set or I can't show what I might be able to do if I don't have anybody advocating for me. For any actor, nobody can, it's a dance too with the agent. You're only as good as, I don't want to say you're only as good as your agent. It's not true, but I can't negotiate contracts and I can't push for myself to get on set. Of course they're going to, see an actor pushing for himself. But if you have somebody that's as passionate and as hardworking as Angie is, and she sets you up for those home runs, that's a blessing. But I was going somewhere with that. I can't quite remember. But regardless, it's a blessing to be from a place like Louisiana, who is so artistically inclined and passionate about the work. It's interesting that you're from Arkansas. What was the scene like there versus here? And is it easier for somebody, if I were to start off again like I did 7 years ago, would I have been able to build the credits that I've been able to build as easily in Arkansas as I'd have here?
Oh, I mean, there's nothing really going on in Arkansas. Okay. Yeah, there's in Central Arkansas and there's UCA, which has a film school there. So a lot of us worked on the student films there to grow our credits. or to get our reels built. There was a really big film festival there whenever I was going into, which introduced us to a lot of people down there.
Yeah.
But as far as like an actual artistic scene, there's really not much going on at all.
Okay.
That's why we all came here as soon as we got our reels built up. And so I think if you were starting out again there, it would be good to get real footage because there aren't many actors either, which that's kind of a blessing because every role that pops up, there's like, 20 people that are going for it.
Yeah.
And you're going to get your reel real quick.
Right.
So I think, every year they did film auditions or film school auditions, I was in like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got our reels built up in like 2 years.
Okay.
But yeah, down here is definitely where you want to be if you want to actually do bigger things.
Right. Or at least you're saying like in the South, like in the Southeast market, you're trying to break into the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do you plan on going to LA? Is that where you plan on going?
I've definitely considered, and
what's your plan of attack when you get out there? I mean, you said you already have an agent out there.
Yeah. So I guess I'm rep across the country. So that's one drawback of me wanting. So when I first moved to New York, the plan of attack to move back a little bit, the plan was to acquire larger scale agency and to train. And whenever I got to New York, I had already signed with CESD right before I was in Atlanta working on Will Trent, the pilot for the show Will Trent on ABC. And my manager ended up setting up the meeting with them, and I signed with them a week before I even got out there. So it took away half of like the juice of why I was going out there. I'm not going out there to work 3 jobs just to pay rent. It's not cute. It's not a good look for me. I'm not interested in it. Some people are. I'm just not into that. And there's no knock to them. But I went out there to be directional and intentional. When half of that got taken away, or when half of that was accomplished, rather, it kind of made it. And with everything being self-taped since COVID, man, it's hard to find like real sustainable reason to stay in a place like that where you have to struggle.
Yeah.
And so I liken that experience to me possibly moving to LA because I'm doing a similar thing. But really the only draw for me there is, again, to be around like-minded artists, to be in the middle of the pot, and for better or for worse, and to train. Because again, I can audition. Where are you from in Arkansas?
A small Harrisburg.
Harrisburg?
Yeah, a little bit town.
Okay. Anybody could book a series regular lead role out of there now versus maybe in the 80s and 90s. There's no shot. It's literally impossible.
Back then,
it's literally impossible.
Yeah.
But now you can record anything, anywhere and audition. So
yeah, I think the only thing would be with like travel, because sometimes they want local hires.
Sure.
But that's just with like, I guess with like day players, right? They want local hires for day players, but they'll probably still pay for travel for leads.
Well, I've seen it depends on what the project is. So you can be a lead, but it's still a micro budget film.
Yeah.
Regardless of the talent that's attached to it. And they still sometimes maybe once. I've gotten plenty of lead or series regular auditions in the past year that are still asking that you're in New York City or still asking that you're in LA. Of course you say that you are.
Yeah.
You're everywhere. That's your job too, is just to be everywhere. But so no, of course, yeah, the plan is to be out there. And I don't think so much, Adam Stevenson. I don't know if do you know Adam Stevenson? The other Adam.
Sounds familiar.
The grand Adam. He's a great beard. He's a great talent. He's a scholar, man. He's a genius. He's a great actor. He said to me one day, you should never move somewhere for the work. You should move there because you want to live there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, dude, that's so simple. And it's kind of like a no duh. I don't know where I want to be. I'm 22 and I know I love traveling and moving around and meeting new people, meeting new accents, meeting new foods and cultures. And I think the big draw for me to go to a place like LA is to just experience something that is different from here.
Have you been there yet?
I've been there once for a couple of days, hung out in Culver City. Yeah. But so yeah, it's not always just about pursuing the artistry. I think the artistry gets pursued wherever you're at. But I think a big draw for me just to be somewhere new and different for a little while.
I think you should go for it, dude, while you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like moving. That's why I love this city, because this city is like people come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always people traveling to this city.
Yeah.
So all my friends that I've ever met in life, they come here.
Yeah. It's a city of wayfaring strangers.
Yeah, I just get to sit around and like wait for people.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. You got the spider web set up pretty nicely. And this place in general, man, I just came here a couple of weeks ago and seeing all the artists that y'all have in it. You had some insane musicians up in here that, you know, I never heard of, but that speaks volumes about what the city provides and what it has to offer to people that can captivate it and make use of it.
Dude, we've been having this guy come through that most people don't know, but he's fucking famous. He had a band that was called the Raffies.
Okay.
And this is one of the only bands to ever take the Hollywood sign and convert it to their name. So they basically defaced the Hollywood sign and made it the Raffies.
And he's been coming in here just shredding on Wednesdays. He comes in
here to play on open mics. Sick. And no one fucking knows it. It's crazy. Really?
So wait, so what is he? Does he? I suppose he lives in New Orleans. What brought him here?
Yeah, he's originally from here. Yeah, him and his band moved to LA to break it in. And then when they got out there, one of the first stunts they wanted to do, because they were a big fan of doing like live stunts and things, was deface the Hollywood sign. So one of the people got methed out of his head, went and stole a bunch of sheets from a hotel, and then sewed them into the letters.
What?
Yeah, and they went up there because he's really smart too, because they figured out that the only days that the helicopters aren't flying in LA is on New Year's.
Okay.
Because the fireworks.
Yeah.
So they went up there on New Year's and put all the letters up there and made it the Raffies.
What a precise plan that requires. That's dedication, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That's dedication, man. So is the band still together now? Are they in here on open mic nights, or is it just him? Just
him. Yeah,
whipping out the acoustic.
Yeah, the band never actually made it really big.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's one of the only ones to ever do a stunt like that big.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's
and
so
he
sick.
comes in here and he hangs out, and he's actually come on the podcast. So I know all this.
He's come on the podcast. He's trying to come on the.
No, he's been on the podcast.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, he came on the podcast and told his story and everything. It's really, really fun.
That's raw, man. That's raw. Well, anyway, man, I really appreciate you asking me to come on and do this, man.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be able to, it's a good place. It's a good, safe place there's not really too many places for artists to come and talk about struggling. And this is a good place. It's a good thing that you have set up here for all these people, man, for anybody, for actors, musicians, painters, dancers. This is a good thing that you got going here, man. I really appreciate you letting me come on.
Well, we were talking about, the where you see yourself in 10 years. Yeah. I heard a really, really cool saying the other day where they're talking about the present moment. Yeah. And so like, you have present, you have past, and you have future. Okay. The present moment is just like a slice. Like how big is the present? It's very small, right? It's right here and right now. Yeah. And then we always look to the future, but the future doesn't really exist.
Right.
The future is just something that we're looking forward to. Okay. And it's like, okay, well, what about this thing called the past? Well, the past isn't around anymore. It's already happened. So really the only thing that you have is the present moment. So if you take this present moment and do something with it every single day, that's eventually going to lead to something. Yeah. So you just have to like make the right choices day by day, I think.
Take your small pieces that you do have.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I live my life every day. So I don't really think about the future. I wake up and I do fun shit every day. I experiment with life. Yeah. I think this is, it's a big game. And if you're not experimenting with it, you're part of someone else's experiment.
I think that's a line, dude. That's a good line. I like that line. You put that on the shirt. I think me and you are in a lot of ways opposites, not in a bad way, but I struggle with the ability to see things as a game. Life is always so just like so serious to me, like fist squeezed. And I would like to be better about. And I'm sure a lot of artists struggle with this. Everybody wants to who doesn't want to make it in life in any kind of way or another, but especially if you're an artist and like very sensitive.
What does that mean though? People. Make it, it's different for everyone.
Sure, it is. But I think what making it means for me is seeing the work that you've done, that you said you wanted to do, and seeing it completed or seeing it done, or at least seeing it attempted, at least with wholeheartedly and passionately. And I think a lot of artists don't make it, not because they don't get, this lead show or just because they're not, a Grammy winning artist or anything like that. I think they don't make it because they're constantly, and I can see this, even with myself, wanting to sell off whatever they need to sell of themselves to acquire this title of lead or rock singer or any of these things. And I've noticed even with myself in times in the past, this itch to like do anything. I'll move to New York right now and struggle. I can do it. I'll do it right now. But like, is it really necessary? Like, is it really necessary to suffer like this when you can right now, like what you're doing, construct and create and build art? And I would like to be a lot more like you in the sense of things are happening as is happening. Everything's fine. You know, a meteor's not going to fall out the sky and hit you tomorrow if you don't. You know, I have a great audition I'm about to do after we finish this here, man. That's one of those like life changers. Every single time that lands in anybody's lap, like it's like, oh shit. I hope I can stop serving tables now. But that kind of gripful, larger than life way of looking at these opportunities, I think is so self-sabotaging, and I'm aware of it. How did you find you were able to drop that off of you, or was that ever even a part of you?
But yeah, I think it's an age thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I admire people that are young and can actually get through it faster than I did. But I mean, to me, it came with age. Where one day I woke up in my like mid 30s or maybe like early 30s, and I was like, this is all it's for play. Yeah.
Sandbox.
Yeah. And even when I do auditions now, like I do auditions for fun. Like I don't do auditions expecting to grab the job. I think today a cool exercise to do before you do your audition, are you doing it self-tape or are you doing it in person?
Yeah, self-tape.
I think just to go in there and play.
Yeah.
Like,
of course. Like
whatever choices that you already had planned for this actor, just let him go. Yeah. Let's make new choices. Yeah. That's I did an audition a while back and Adam was helping me. It was a few years ago. And in this audition, I was like so lost in this character that after it was over, he looked at me and he's like, did you mean to like scratch your nose? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you scratched your nose like in the middle of the audition. And he's like, that's so weird. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I was in the character. Like that's what the character would have done at that time. Sure. And he's like, well, do you want to do another one? I was like, no, leave the take. Yeah. Because I mean, it's play. Yeah. And even like the last few auditions that I did one with Hunter McHugh sent me one. Yeah. And in this audition, I had one of my buddies come over and I was like, in this audition, I have these lines, but I'm going to actually read all my lines and these other two lines too, because I think that my character would say those lines in this scene. And the auditioning partner was like, what? He's like, are you sure? And I was like, bro, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. So I read all those lines and the other lines that I thought my character would say and then sent it away. Yeah. I was like, let it go. I like that line that you said. That's what I'm doing. That's such a straightforward, intentional line. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. So, I mean, and I felt like my character would say those lines. I sent it away and actually got a call back for that one. That's raw. That's raw because that's what you were doing. I like that, man. That's really a confident way for any artist, I think, to move is I'm going to make this piece. Might not sell, but that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm going to make this choice. It may or may not book it. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. Just wholehearted commitment to something. That's raw. That's raw. Yeah, you should relax today, man. Just take that, like whatever the audition is, like who gives a shit? Yeah. Like just have fun with it. Yeah. Sick. Yeah, I like to do things like that because what's the outcome gonna be? Like they're not gonna give me the part. Yeah. I already don't have the fucking part. Yeah. So I might as well have fun with it. And I don't have to get my notepad out. These are really good life mantras. Especially for an overthinking, heady, mentally stressed person like me. Yeah. That's very loose. You're a very loose person as it is. And you say that comes with age. I'm 22. Well, I say it comes with age, but it also comes with, I think, psychedelics. Okay. Yeah. Is it the stuff that you got from that lab? Oh, no, that's not. No, that's something very different. Yeah, no, but I mean, like when I started taking mushrooms and stuff, I calmed down too. Yeah. Is that an every night, like little microdose? So I actually been microdosing for the past 2 years. Holy shit. But no, really the first time like things switched was when I was 33 and I took like my first dose of psilocybin. Okay. And it wasn't even a big dose either, but it just made me like kind of step back. Whoa. Yeah. Like, cause we get so in like in this body, like I am Kyle. Yeah. But then once you take those substances, you're like, hang on a second. Yeah. Am I really Kyle? Am I Kyle? Yeah. Like what's actually speaking to me right now? Yeah. There's something else talking to me. Or am I just experiencing Kyle? Yeah. When did you start? Psychedelics?
Yeah.
I think I was 33 whenever I first started, or 32 maybe when I took psychedelics. And then that led into me starting to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And then my life just switched.
So this sounds like a recent, like fairly recently. I'm saying the grand scheme of your
like
life.
5-6 years.
Yeah.
So when I was in my 20s, I was stressed out, like kind of like you were. I mean, I was doing things a little differently, but I still wanted success. I wanted to do this. I wanted to grind. And I even lived with people that were the same way. So we were getting up, like doing photo shoots in the middle of the night. Like some of my really good friends that I'm still friends with, Elmer Escobar, T&K Photos. Dude's got an amazing business in California. If anyone needs wedding photography. Okay. But like those were fun times. Yeah. Because when you find people that you can grind with, like it makes the growth process easier.
Sure.
I think a lot of artists, they hang around people that say they want to be artists, but
don't participate in the process of being an artist. Yeah.
Cause creating all the time is hard.
Yeah.
And when you find 2 or 3 people that want to create too, it makes it easier to get things done.
Yeah.
That's why it's really cool. The film that we're working on right now, the feature, the people that are working on it, they want to create.
Right.
So when we all get in a room together, shit gets done. Yeah. It's not just us hanging out.
There is something very palpable about being around people that are just hungry for, again, not success, but hungry to give whatever they have, whether it be a singer, artist, or actor. You know, it's so interesting. I was reading this autobiography on I think it's called The Contender, on Marlon Brando when I was living in New York. I still haven't finished the book, but it's a great book. And they would talk about in the autobiography, a late night on Friday, Saturday night, Marlon would go to an apartment on East 57th and in the apartment with 3 actors. They might put on a scene. 2 of them are poets. They're going to show their poetry. They're going to do tomorrow night at the Poetry Slam. This person's a sculptor. He shows off, his bust that he just worked on. That's such a cool thing to be around. It's a snowball effect being around, and it's contagious, dude. Mm-hmm. It's so contagious. You almost don't have room to be, I don't want to say mediocre, but like you don't have room to be lazy and to deny your craft or your art when you're around people that are so just charged by
it's going to make you grow.
Passion.
It's going to push you to grow, to get better.
Yeah, for sure.
Marlon Brando's another really cool actor. He was loose with it.
Yeah.
I think in his career, he wouldn't even read the lines. Yeah. Like he would be like, feed me the lines. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. And if you watch him in his early days when he's actually performing scenes and doing auditions and stuff, dude, he's so just like fluid. Yeah. Like he's actually really embodying the character. I think that's something that comes with Leo too, is Leo really embodies the characters. Yeah. Do you have a certain process that you go through when it comes to creating a character?
So I suppose, and a lot of this really is dependent. It really is, man, on just some of the material that you get. I'm not Leo yet. Not yet. Scratch the yet. I'm not Leo. So maybe some of the stuff, a lot of stuff we're auditioning for is, I'm trying to be loose. I'm trying to be careful with these words. A lot of stuff we're auditioning for isn't necessarily Shakespeare. And when you're just playing, you can craft the hell out of firefighter number 1 with your 3 lines. You're given whatever you need to be given to make something meaningful out of it. But I can't pretend either that it's Macbeth. And with saying that, I try my best to... I'm doing my best to really be careful here and not piss off any like casting directors and lose out on getting in the room with anybody. But I suppose it changes every time I do something, not based off the quality of the project itself, but rather it's fun to explore. And listen, you can listen to like a Robert Pattinson. You can listen to him say every single time he works on something, it's never exactly the same. And I guess if it was the same every single time, it wouldn't be that enjoyable or an adventure, because now it's, at least to me, it turns into like schoolwork, like heady schoolwork to be mechanical. All right, today, like, of course, you got to do your basic stuff. You got to know where you're at. You got to know who you're talking to and your main ideas of everything that you're saying. But I try my best to make it not feel like schoolwork, because I'm such an intellectual person. I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm saying I'm so heady. I'm just so analyzing, and I'm so, anything that I can do to make me not that is the best work that I can do. And sometimes it might be to, not stare at a script for 2 days long before I do the audition. But sometimes, and not sometimes, a lot of times, especially the bigger work that you're given, bigger parts that you're giving the opportunity to work on, it may not be in your service to only look at it for 5 minutes and then show up. Dude, I did this Netflix project a few years ago. It only ran for I think like one season. It's called Teenage Bounty Hunters. I got to like debate the main character in a quick scene. It was a cool scene. It was when I was just first starting out. There's only a few lines in it. The few lines I had were like, my opponent has made some valuable points, and sure, in theory, reparations are right, but who decides the definition of an atrocity? It was something like that. It's fairly simple lines, man. And at that time, I was so high off of the fact, at that time, I was either booking it, getting pinned for it, getting called back for it. Everything felt way too good. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a lead next year, man. I had this bravado to me that I didn't have to look at the stuff. I could just show up and just look at it. And it was a subconscious bravado. You know, it wasn't something that was on the forefront of my mind. And it was a learning experience, because when I got there, I could not say the lines for the life of me, dude. It was a struggle to get it out. Those simple lines. And sometimes the simple lines are some of the hardest to do because it's that simple. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like I gave my time and attention to it. I just kind of BS'd it and it came out good, but that's not the best, impression on people. So from going forward from there, that fear of mine of being too intellectual and too heady, I can't read this for too long, changed to, dude, I have to, if I have a line, if it's one line, I'll have to say that line probably literally 300 times now. I'll write it out like 50 times. I destroy it now out of fear of looking underprepared. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say that I do have necessarily a process now. I think I'm trying to find what it is. And I have found something in the past couple of months, but I think my process all around simply is being prepared. It's not like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. All I need to know is I need to be prepared, and whatever that form that takes, it takes.
Yeah, that's why failure is good.
Yeah,
because I mean, you had an issue on set, mm-hmm. and we'll call it a slight failure.
Right.
Yeah, and then it pushed you to get better.
Right.
Yeah, I've actually had similar things. It wasn't on a Netflix series that happened, but one of my buddies was doing a short film in Arkansas, mm-hmm. and I got cast in it, and there was one line one day that I just couldn't get out.
Do you remember the line?
No, I don't even remember the line right now. It was something so simple. It was like 5 words, dude. Yeah. And I was talking to the guy across from me at a table, and had cameras, had a room full of people. They did it legit there. Mm-hmm. And this line just wouldn't come out. Mm-hmm. And I think we went through like 10 takes, and finally I was like, dude, we might have to spin the camera around and come back to me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't sleep well the night before. So that was part of the reason. I know it was. Mm-hmm. So I mean, now like I've added that to my regimen, like definitely get good sleep the night before.
Sure.
Hydrate, all this good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for me, I have my own little process that I do. And I think that's where training comes in. Because if you work with actors who have been through it before, they can kind of give you the steps of their process on creating a character. Mm-hmm. And I get where being firefighter number 1, like that's not really, you don't really have to create a character to say one line for firefighter number 1. And even though they always tell you, oh, there are no small parts. It's like, okay, whatever. We're pushing the story forward, but yes, this is a small part.
Yeah.
That's what I tell the directors that tell me that shit. Yeah. I'm like, whatever.
I know what my purpose. I know what firefighter number 1's purpose is.
Yeah, we're pushing the story along.
Yeah.
But no, when it comes to like being a lead or something, this is where it was fun to like do these short films in Arkansas, because getting lead after lead on these short films, it actually lets you build a character. Because I think that's part of the fun of playing leads.
Yeah.
Is that you get to build this backstory, and you like get to kind of figure out who this guy is and like his mannerisms and things. So
you get to sit with something for longer.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about when I was asking if you built a character or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So long story short, not necessarily. I have done a lot of like character movement work in the past few months, and that is such an exciting thing, man, to be able to.
Well, Adam teaches something like that, doesn't he?
He does. That dude's a guru. He's him and Johnny are absolute scholars, man. And it's such a lost Louisiana that they're not like here anymore. Where obviously they're chasing their things.
I didn't know Johnny moved too.
Yeah, he's in New York, dude. Their apartment is sick, man. I went to their apartment I spent Christmas with them actually.
Who, Johnny?
Johnny, Adam, and do you know Jeff by chance?
Oh, Adam and Emily don't.
Nah. Wait, Adam and Emily. No, they live there too.
Yeah, oh, you're talking about the other Adam.
No, Adam.
Okay.
Hensley.
Okay.
Long story short, I spent Christmas with them, but long story short, yes, he does teach that, and he's a guru. He's a freak of nature, man. But no, with somebody else, character movement, and it's so interesting exploring why a person may walk into a room with their nose instead of their chest, opposed to why maybe Matthew McConaughey, his lead is his groin. You ever watching a movie? Every room he walks
swaggers in.
Yeah, dude, it's his
Dick
groin.
first.
Exactly. He's such a sexual person. He's so confident.
Is that why he does it?
It's not a conscious thing though. Some people are unconscious about it. Bookworms, kids in school who get bullied, maybe get picked on, don't have too many friends. They keep their head down, they keep their eyes down. They avoid that confrontation. They lead with their forehead.
Interesting.
Whereas somebody who maybe a buff jock, a football, a high school quarterback, star athlete, he has nothing to hide. He has nothing to. He opens himself up. He shows himself off to the world. This
is like a human psychology study. I like it.
But that's the cool thing about this.
Do you break down other people when you see them now in public?
100%, 100%, dude. And that's so fat because everybody, all we are, mentally, physically, emotionally, and in ways spiritually, are the habits that. I just read the sick quote a couple of days ago that said, every choice we make is a vote to the type of person we're becoming. So a person who, instead of taking the risk and talking to that cute girl in the classroom, instead buries her face in the book, that's a vote to the type of person you're becoming. You become maybe more cocooned. You become maybe more standoffish, on guard. Whereas the guy who takes that risk, maybe that chest puffs out a little bit more. Maybe they're more open to the world. So it's so fascinating seeing, everybody is the same in some ways, man. We all got, for the most part, we all got two eyes and a nose for the most part, but everybody is light years different from their, their socioeconomic background, whatever they grew up with, whatever their household was like, whatever their parents were like, whatever they experienced in school. So that's the most fun thing about working as an actor is to see that, and not just the work that you're auditioning for or working towards, but to see that in other people. That's so fascinating, man.
What do you see when you see me? Because when I walk through a door, I don't walk through straight up. I turn sideways and shimmy through so I can actually fit.
I see somebody who stays in the gym, and I see, that's what I see. But no, you're a pretty open guy though, man. You're not you're pretty social. I haven't necessarily seen you so much in so many, in a variety of social atmospheres before. And I've seen, you're a very social person, dude. You're not walking into every room, again, and I don't know, how were you in high school? Were you an athlete in high school? Were you a theater kid? You say you didn't do theater in high school. What did you do in high school?
I played basketball.
Oh, okay. You balled in high school?
Yeah.
That means something. Too. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Shit. That means something then.
When I walk in the room, it's more of I walk in the room like my dick is the biggest in the room. Everyone I go
McConaughey.
to.
Okay.
It's not even like a subconscious thing. I want to I want to change the vibe of the room when I walk in.
I want y'all to know that there's an alpha in here and it's not you. Yeah. By the way, what did you play? What?
I was a forward. Yeah.
Okay.
I played at Bethel University in Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
Bethel. I've heard of Bethel. Is Bethel? I might be lying. Actually, it is Bethel. Bethel's not a Christian university, is it?
Yeah, it's a Presbyterian.
Okay, yeah, I have heard of Bethel. Yeah. What? That is so random. This is the most random thing I could have heard today.
Crazy that
yeah. I've heard of Bethel. Are they connected to all right, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it was a good time, man. But I think that does that's a lot to do with my confidence level. Yeah,
sure.
Just the fact that I carry myself that way.
That's a vote into who you've become, though.
But it's kind of fun, though. That's what I was telling. Last night, I went down to the music studio down here the street, and I was hanging out with Knox. Awesome musician. But we were talking about, he wants to see my acting that I've done.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, well, there's a reel out there. And he's like, you got to send me your reel, dude. And I was like, dude, I don't send any of my acting out to anyone. And he's like, why not? And I said, because it's going to change your opinion of me. I was like, you see me walking around right now, right? Mm-hmm. But if you see my acting, you see me crying, you see me like boohooing, it changes it may not change yours because you're an actor as well.
Sure.
But subconsciously, all the other people that see these things, they're like, oh, I've seen that man cry.
What does that do to you?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, it in my opinion, it knocks me down the ladder a little bit. Like right now, they see me as like a leader because I lead a lot of these things that we do, these projects that we do.
Okay.
And if they see me crying, that's not a very good way to see your leaders.
So you think it knocks you down a peg in the hierarchical social status of being an alpha, a lead, a boss in this area?
Yeah. I still say that it's out there if you want to go find it.
Sure.
But I'm not going to send it to you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to volunteer that for you.
I'm not showing you weakness.
And I've seen it. That's the reason I'm saying this is because I've actually seen people, their opinions shift whenever they see my acting reel. Because I'm in my acting reel, I'm like crying and I'm beating women.
Oh,
like some of the stuff that I've done is pretty out there.
Sure.
And I've been in the room with people as they're watching it, and they're just kind of like,
well, I may not get that beer with you later on.
yeah, the tone shifts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such an interesting thing. I never thought of that.
Yeah. And one time when I did a film, I killed myself in the film, and my dad was watching this film, and he started tearing up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like you can see this work actually like hit people in a very powerful way.
Sure. Of course, this work, especially when done like right, it affects anybody. Art affects regardless. If you don't like the piece, that's an effect on you. You know, you can hate the painting on the wall. It still had an effect on you. That's really interesting. I never considered that. Well, maybe I need to stop. Yeah. I don't advertise my reel to anybody. I try and hide it. Actually, I try and hide everything I do. I hate people. I hate people knowing that I act for some reason.
Why?
I don't know, man. I hate the conversation. Like, I just hate it's the same conversation.
Oh, you're an actor?
It somewhat like that, but then
Have you been on Netflix?
Yeah. Well,
is there a movie I can see you in?
It's the exact same. Yeah. What's the next? Well, especially where I'm from. Well, I'm from Baton Rouge, but I grew up in a place called Gonzales, too, in between here in New Orleans, Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And it's not necessarily the smallest town, not as small as maybe yours in Arkansas. It's growing a lot, but everybody knew that I did it. Mm-hmm. And at that time, too, I was, that's whenever I was doing like day player auditions and stuff. So I was booking a lot more. Now it's, series regs and leads. So that booking ratio like shrinks.
Yeah.
But at the time I was working quite often, and every time I would go out, it was right when I just graduated high school. I probably worked on like 3 or 4 things like back to back. And every time I would go out, it would start the same. And I'm nobody. I have not worked on anything that I consider, or, most people would deem, I'm not Spider-Man. I'm nothing like that. But I guess in Gonzales, nobody else does that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure the same way in your hometown. Nobody does that kind of stuff.
I go home, people ask me for auditions or for
signature autographs.
Autographs.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to me too, because I'm like, what?
Yeah. But small town, you're a big fish in there.
Everybody's famous in a small town. There's a song about that.
I've heard of it. Yeah. I've heard of it. But doing that, I'm uncomfortable. I would go to a party and I'm famous with people's moms, like, and dads. Like, they would watch like NCIS, like, oh, he was on that Lifetime movie, like, shit like that. Like, people's parents and grandparents fucking eat me up, dude. Like, and but I would go to a party, like maybe go to a party, stop in real quick to see some old high school friends, and they would start off me talking with the mom that I just met, and then I finished from her, and I'm walking ahead, and I'm stopped again, and I have to start. Like
the same conversation
over and over. And it's so flattering for people to appreciate this, the small stuff that I have done. Cause that's cool, man. And that is a pat on your back. People deserve to, people deserve to be pat on their backs, or like, I need to be better about taking like, this stuff I'm not going to war, but this isn't the easiest thing to pursue constantly either. I don't think in terms, maybe emotionally for some people, but I just don't like being told like that this is so cool. I don't like being told that this is so cool that you did this and that it's so cool that my mom watched you on Lifetime Christmas movie. Like,
what do you mean? That is cool though.
It's cool. It is cool.
Like there aren't many people that do this.
100%.
So it's kind of fun that like when you go back to your hometowns and like they see you as like this person that's doing something larger than life.
Sure.
I think this is the balance. So like you said, it is hard to do these things, but it gets balanced out by, people telling you good job.
Sure. And maybe this is all just a roundabout way of saying I'm terrible with compliments. And
it probably is. Yeah,
I am. Yeah. And I think I don't want to be, don't notice me please in public for this. I was at Walmart once. A stranger walked up to me and was like, "You're the guy that does acting." I do acting. Like I just kind of brush it off now when people say that to me. I'm like, yeah, I do, man. Well, now I say no. I just say, you might be thinking about somebody else, man. It just makes the conversation easier and I can buy my cereal and leave.
Matt Damon was talking about this. After they did Good Will Hunting, that's like when they blew up or whatever.
Yeah.
And someone was asking him the same question. He's like, do you find that, that your life is different now that, you've done this movie and you have all this success. And he's like, well, my life really isn't any different. My life in relationship to the world is now different. So like it used to, when he would walk outside, no one knew who the fuck he was.
Right.
Now when he walks outside, everyone knows who he is. So
Right.
he said that's different, but his actual life really isn't any different at all.
Right.
So you got to figure out your new place, your new way to fit into life.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, how you may now interact with the mailman versus before.
Yeah. So like, what do you, whenever you become this lead and you have your series regular, like it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, I have plans for that. I'll find my way back to Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's probably what I would do.
I'm gonna move into the woods.
That's actually the dream. That actually literally is the dream, man. A small little cabin in the woods, pop up every now and then, work for a few months, and just duck back and just be a recluse.
Yeah,
that's my dream.
That's a great dream to have, actually.
Yeah.
I love what Adam Sandler does too. He like, once a year they put out like a couple Happy Madison movies, and he's like takes all of his friends on a trip. Yeah. And they go make a movie somewhere on a trip.
Mm-hmm. I think that's success right there.
Yeah.
I think success is bringing people around that you love having around to work on something collectively together. And then if it,
I think success is just enjoying the ride.
Sure.
That's why at the end of every podcast, I put enjoy the ride on it, because this little journey that we're on, as long as you're happy in life, that's success. Yeah. And then you work on things that you want to work on and keep pursuing the happiness, man.
Do you see yourself possibly moving on from this artistic, this field, from doing podcasts, from developing these projects, the variety of projects you develop? Do you see yourself moving on from it and doing something wildly different? Have you ever thought about like, man, I could really, dude, I've always had a dream to plant beets in a field. Like, do you have any like wild, like different vision? Have you ever had a different vision for yourself that you could see yourself pursuing in the future? Beets. Beets. Yeah, planting beets in the field. I don't know where that came from, but you see yourself doing something just different.
I don't know, man. I was having this conversation last night with a friend of mine. We were talking about moving back home to our families because our families are getting older. Okay. And we're not around them right now. So it's almost like we're missing out on a part of life. Because there's a big part of life, which is watching your parents get older and then seeing them, pass on to whatever the other side is. And you only get one shot at that. Yeah. And if you're down here pursuing something else, you're not able to do this. Right. So I do think about that sometimes, leaving the city and going to do something wildly different. I don't know what it would be. I don't know if I would go back into IT or if I would, find something other to do. I have a wide variety of skills, so I can do a lot of things. But then I don't think it's going to happen right now. There are a lot of things that I do. So I live life like an artist, not like an actor, not like a filmmaker. When I look at things, I'm like, what could I do with this? Can I take the pieces and make something else with it? So yes, there is a possibility that I go on to something else, but I think that filmmaking and acting is always going to be a part of me. So I think that even when I'm 70, and one of my buddies who makes films reaches out to me and is like, hey, I'm making a movie next week. You want to come act in it? I'll be like, fuck yeah, sign me up. Yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to get away from that because I love the process of being in front of a camera and creating a character so much that I'm going to die with that process. Yeah. Yeah. So that's your success. That's your success. Dude, I'm successful right now. Right. Like if I died tomorrow, like you could put in a book that this man made it. Yeah. 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 And my making it looks very different from a lot of people's making it, but I'm happy. Yeah. Like I get a chance to wake up every day and do something fun. And it's usually things that I make my own path every day. Yeah. Like I don't have anywhere that I have to be, so it's constant fun. And I think that's what life's all about. And it's different for everyone. But I found my little piece of fun. Yeah. I like that. And I like, I like that you're saying you live your life like an artist every single day. I know it's tough sometimes for actors who are pursuing to do this full time. You're trying to still stay alive and pay bills and do all these other things. You found a way to do it comfortably. I feel like I have to, I would love to stay at home and read maybe this book on the craft or go to the movies or do something that makes me feel more in tune and connected to the work. But I got to go
serve red beans now in the French Quarter. Like it's a buzzkill, but then I say I have to, and I'm trying to find that balance of what do I have to do? I love traveling. Traveling can cost money though. Mm-hmm. So to get that money, I do have to work. But then I find bring you back what you said earlier on about don't never live above your means. I'm trying to find that balance of, do I need to go out to this? I don't really go out to the bars that often. I'm not too loose or, stupid with money, but finding how I can put myself somewhere in life where I don't have to be at work, or I don't have to give up these life points so that I can, pay my car insurance, or, these are everybody, you have necessities too, like things that you got to pay. Sometimes you just got to eat it sometimes. But that's a balance that I would love to find. And I'm sure a lot of other artists would love to find, so where they don't have to feel like I'm here selling red beans and jambalaya and muffaladas again today, just so I can maybe make it as an actor tomorrow. And what advice would you give to somebody who's trying to find that? Man,
I ate shit for a long time. Yeah. So I basically got lucky with this place. Mm-hmm. So there's really nothing I can really say to. I mean, even this place right here was a grind in the beginning, getting it off the ground and stuff. But yeah, I bartended in the French Quarter for 3 years. I served tables all through my 20s. Mm-hmm. After I quit my IT job, actually went from IT job back to serving tables. Whoa! Yeah, before I did the modeling thing. Whoa! And then went from modeling back to serving tables. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've went up and down through life. Sure. So I mean, I think it's just part of the journey is eating shit, man. Eating shit along the way, and you when you do these jobs that you don't like, that pushes you to find something that you do like. For me, it was bartending. Whenever I got my first bartending gig, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I don't have to take shit from these fucking idiots at tables anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Like, if someone gets on my nerves, I can say, get the fuck out. Yeah. And they have to listen to me. Yeah. Like, that's where the shift happened for me. And I was like, okay, well, this is something. And you're also making tons of money every night. Like, so much more money than I made ever serving tables. Really? And it's easy. Mm-hmm. Here's vodka and soda. Yeah. Boom. Done. Yeah. Yeah, that was a shift for me. It's also a very dangerous job to do, because a lot of people that go into that field start drinking a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's one of the caveats with doing that. But I mean, that was a shift for me. I found a job that I actually liked, and I could talk to people, and every person that come in, I was a different character with. So I got to play with that kind of aspect of it. Sure. Yeah, I think you just got to find something that you like, man. Sure. And look, yeah, and that's another thing too, is trying not to. I'm just a fast paced person, I think, and then constantly wanting to demand that. I think waking up every day, and I think picking up an extra shift at work constantly is demanding more money. This act of constantly demanding more and more things is so energy exhausting. And I think if I could, this is a therapy session, but if I could be better about not needing it right now, maybe I could get a little closer to like where you're at. Yeah. I don't need to be, I would love it though. Have you ever meditated? I have. Did you like it? I love it. Yeah, so that changed my outlook. I meditate every single day. Every day. Yeah, after my workout at the lofts, I go up top and meditate on the roof. Yeah, that's sick. It's my daily routine, and it just makes my day better. Because I mean, when it comes to, I know that if I don't meditate, I'm anxious about things. So when things happen in life, I'm just on the edge of like, I gotta knock this out, I gotta do this. Yeah. But after I meditate, I'm like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Off the back. Yeah. Yeah. And just go on. You knock it out whenever you have time to do it. That's more of what I need, man, because I constantly do feel like a lot of things don't roll off my back. It's stuck to my back. Mm-hmm. And everything is a little larger than everything. Small things are larger than life to me. And I think that would be a lot more, it would be in service to myself to be a little bit more intentional about slowing down. And I said what I said about New York. They're constantly just
Like just
That's why I can't go there. Man.
Yeah.
It's the constant grind up there.
Yeah.
Like I need time to slow down.
Sure. And I love the intentionality of a place like that. And I think there is a lot of things that are in service to you of being intentional. But I think to that degree, and then for that sustained period of time, man, you miss out on life. You miss out on the ability to slow down, to see the cars, to see the birds passing by. I say the cars, the birds and trees, I think slowing down for anybody or any artist might be like the key to be quote unquote successful wherever that brings you. It's just sometimes hard anchoring yourself down too.
Dude, there's a book that I think you should read. I think you would get a lot out of it. It's called The Science of Yoga.
Okay.
And
signs or science?
The science of yoga. And it's another one of those things that, like, in that period between my 32 and 33 year, I read that as well as started meditating and, had my experience with psilocybin.
Yeah.
And that was part of the shift that I had.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that comes with age. Like, I don't know if that's the kicker, or
it's probably an ingredient for sure.
I'm sure part of it is. So, I mean, with you saying, you're stressing out, you're young, like you got plenty of time.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that's a cool book to check out too if you're just looking for something to read one day.
Science of Yoga.
The Science of Yoga. Yeah, I can text you the details when we get out there.
Please do.
D, I've really enjoyed the conversation today.
Man, thank you for letting me come on here and do this with you.
Yeah, do you have social medias and stuff? Where can people find you at?
Oh goodness. Yeah, I do. You can find me at Instagram. I'm trying to stay off of socials the best I can. I've deleted a lot of them, but I guess Instagram's a good place to find me. Darrius with 2 R's, Darrius P Thomas. I actually just started a cool, I think it's cool, New Orleans, I guess it's like a love letter to the city, a photography, videography page. Captures a lot of the music culture, the people in the city. Something to keep you creative while pursuing this crazy, industry. That's at Nola in Noctum. It's Latin. I'm trying to be edgy.
I like it.
It's like, it's anyway, ENNOCTEM. If you find that, check that out. That's kind of
what does that mean?
It means Nola into the night.
Oh,
it's Latin for end of the night.
Sexy.
I tried to get Nola Noir, but somebody already had it. Nola Noir really rolls off the tongue, but they already got it. So
yeah, I like that. That's cool.
It landed in a good spot. But anyway,
I'll follow you on another bar too.
Sick. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, man, thank you so much for letting me do this with you,
Absolutely, Darrius. Anytime, man. Let me know when you come back on.
Sick. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thank you.